In this playthrough of Pokemon HeartGold, I wanted to see if I could beat a hardcore Nuzlocke using only bug-type Pokemon. My hardcore Nuzlocke rules are as follows. I can only catch the first Pokemon on every route, I cannot use items during battle, I have to play on set mode, I can't over-level the next gym leader, and if a Pokemon faints, it must be permanently boxed. I also think EV training for this run will be overkill, so I won't be EV training. I've been hesitant to try a Monolocke up until this point because there's a lot of them going around, and I mean a lot. However, I think a bug-type only run in HeartGold should be really interesting. Bug types are some of the weakest Pokemon by stats. They tend to evolve early and then immediately fall off. They also tend to share a lot of common weaknesses like fire and flying. This combined with a wide variety of bug Pokemon I have access to in Johto should make for a really fun and challenging run. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, it really helps me out and lets me know you guys are enjoying. If you've got any ideas for future runs, let me know, I'm always looking for new ideas. With that out of the way, let's jump right into this run. So let's start by talking about starter choices. While we can't use any of the Johto starters, as the plant, mole and crocodile clearly aren't bugs, it will determine what starter our rival uses. So if we want to avoid fighting a Typhlosion in the endgame, we really shouldn't pick Chikorita here. Unfortunately though, my mother didn't raise no so we picked Chikorita anyway. We named Chikorita Lunch because he'll probably be eaten by all my bug types at some point. It does actually take a while before we can catch the first member of our team, because Elm wants us to go meet Mr. Pokemon. I hate to think what his first name is. Anyway, we set off with our lunch packed, grab a mysterious egg from Mr. Pokemon, before hurrying back as the professor appears to be being mugged. On my arrival back to the lab, the police accuse me of mugging the professor. It's a good job he's here to clear my name, or he'll just let someone else stop the police from arresting me before immediately asking for more favours. You sir just made an enemy for life. After all that, plus a catching tutorial, we finally get this show on the road and catch our first encounter. Our first encounter to this run is a Caterpie we named Quirrell. Quirrell is actually vital through a lot of the early fights in this run, with Compound Eye's Sleep Powder. He's also the only reason I'm playing HeartGold instead of Soul Silver, because in Soul Silver I wouldn't be able to catch a Caterpie until after the third gym. So welcome aboard Quirrell, and is it just me or is Quirrell kind of adorable? Luckily, our level cap is 13, so we're immediately able to evolve Quirrell into Metapod and then into Butterfree. Kinda crazy to have a fully evolved Pokemon before we can even catch our second. Speaking of our second encounter, we're immediately able to carry on our adventure and catch a Spinarak we named Zote. I've never used a Spinarak before, so I'm hoping Zote can pull his weight. Those are actually the only two encounters we get before the first gym. This is slightly worrying because the first gym leader is Falkner, meaning I'm gonna have to hope Quirrell is able to carry this fight with Sleep Powder because Zote isn't gonna be any help. Very in character, so we start the fight with Quirrell and Falkner starts with Pidgey. Luckily, on the first turn, Sleep Powder connects and we're able to KO Falkner's Thirst Bird with a single crit Confusion. Great start. Last is Falkner's hacked Pidgeotto, who we're immediately able to put to sleep with Sleep Powder. I then start going through confusions and I'm able to bring Pidgeotto to below half before he wakes up and hits Quirrell with a Gust. Surprisingly, Gust doesn't do as much as I thought it would. Pidgeotto kinda sucks. This means I'm pretty safe to go through another confusion that just misses the KO, as Quirrell gets hit with a second Gust. Luckily there's no crit shenanigans, meaning a third confusion is able to take down Falkner's Ace and turn it into KFC, winning us the first gym badge, with no issues. I was expecting that to be harder to be honest, oh well, can't complain. On to the rest of the game. Before we can leave Violet City, one of Professor Elm's aides catches up to us to deliver us an egg that Elm wants us to hatch. I graciously accept this quest before throwing their egg in with our lunch. Amusingly meaning the only thing Elm's done for us this run is give us an egg salad for me and my bugs to snack on. We can then go on and catch our third member of our little band of bugs, a Parasect, all the way in Ilex Forest. Now Quirrell is adorable and strong, and Zote is kinda cool looking, but I'll be honest, Hornet kinda creeps me out. Something about those cold dead eyes. Anyway, we then get to beat up some gangsters that are literally mutilating Pokemon. Team Rocket going kinda hard this game. They don't prove to be an issue however, and then I make a pretty clear mistake. Instead of challenging the gym, I accidentally run into my rival. Had I done the gym first, I could have done this rival fight with a higher level cap. Oh well, let's see how this goes. As per usual, Quirrell is going to have to carry a lot of the weight here, so we start the fight as my rival starts with Ghastly. Luckily, Quirrell is able to outspeed and one-shot with Confusion. God, I love this Butterfree, which is worrying because he feels like the kind of Pokemon that is destined to tragically die in a run. Let's not think about that. Second is Quilava. Quilava is really dangerous for my trio of bug types here, so I really have to hope I get lucky with Sleep. Quilava worryingly outspeeds, but luckily just goes to Smokescreen, and then despite an accuracy drop, Sleep Powder connects anyway. Quirrell, you are amazing. I then go through a confusion that doesn't really do a lot, but thankfully it immediately confuses. Quilava of course then immediately wakes up, which is very scary, but luckily the confusion kicks in, meaning I'm able to bring the spicy mole into the yellow with another confusion. Quilava then hits himself in confusion again, while Quirrell misses a Sleep Powder. That's okay Quirrell, can't hit them all. Quillather, thanks to being confused, has actually brought himself into range of being KO'd by another Confusion. So I go for Confusion as Quillather goes through another smoke screen, and Confusion hits, but just misses the KO. Game, you're getting me whiplash here. On the next turn, I go through another Confusion as Quillather breaks out of Confusion and completely throws by going for Leer, meaning Quirrell is able to connect with a Confusion, getting the KO with no damage. Me and Quirrell just got insanely lucky there. Had that Quillather actually gone for attacks, I could have easily lost this entire run. Let's see if I'm as lucky with the second gym leader, Bugsy. This little thinks he's an expert on bug-type Pokemon, so I'm hoping my bugs can put him in his place. When I say my bugs, I mean Quirrell, but same difference. So I start with Quirrell, and Bugsy starts with his own ace Scyther. Scyther has Technician, meaning this thing will probably hit like a truck. I start with Sleep Powder as Scyther gets off of Focus Energy. Crits could be worrying here. Sleep Powder however connects, meaning I can start wearing down Scyther with Gust. Annoyingly, Quirrell is only able to get off one attack before Scyther wakes up and hits a really hard quick attack. What is my sleep luck this run? Quirrell's Confusion is then basically completely negated by a Berry. Bit of a bad turn really. I'm now in the awkward position where I have no choice but to risk a crit and a Sleep Powder miss on the next turn. Luckily, Quirrell survives on 14 HP after taking another quick attack and then is able to land a second Sleep Powder. Bit too close to comfort there. I then get insanely lucky with sleep turns as Quirrell is able to take down Scyther with 4 Gus as Bugsy's ace just naps. Well, I'll be honest there, I shouldn't have won that, but if the game wants to give me the win, I'll happily take it. Bugsy does have 2 other Pokemon, but they're both in cocoons and literally can't move, so Zoe is easily able to take them out with a couple of Nightshades. Bit of a close victory there, but we made it through the early game on attempt 1, and I can now start filling out our team a bit more. Firstly, we have to catch some Farfetch'd. In the original game you only had to catch 1, while in the remake you had to catch 2. Isn't that a worthwhile improvement? Like, I'm seriously confused how they came up with such a genius idea. We then find an interesting man in Ilex Forest, who is key to our next encounters. He's developed an interesting strategy for luring out Pokemon, throwing himself at a tree. Now obviously I wouldn't want to injure myself, but I know just the Pokemon that can't wait to take one for the team. I'm then able to throw Lunch at some trees on Route 33 until a Heracross pops out. Lunch has so many uses. Heracross is a fantastic encounter with the ability Guts, meaning she gets a massive boost in power whenever she gets a status condition, like Burn or Poison. This means she's going to be well worth the head trauma I just gave Lunch, so welcome to the team, Cloth. Unfortunately for Lunch, there is one other headbutt encounter I can get, so after running all the way back to Cherry Grove, which takes forever, I throw Lunch at another tree to find a Pinecone. Once Pinecone evolves into Fortress, his Steel typing will become invaluable in defeating any rock or flying types I have to deal with. I just have to keep him away from any slight increase in temperature, so welcome to the team, Cornither. We've still got 2 more encounters to get before the next gym, so after running all the way back to and then through Goldenrod, we're able to arrive just in time for the bug catching contest. Now I really want Scyther or Pinsir here, and it's also a good opportunity to further show Johto that I am the premium bug type trainer of the region. Luckily, after running around in the grass for a bit, I'm able to find and catch a Scyther. Scyther with Technician is really strong, so alongside Heracross, I've now got both my heavy hitters. Let's show them what we're made of, Myla. Before I can catch my final encounter before the 3rd gym, I do get to show off Myla to the judges. I'm all prepared to accept my prestigious award for winning the bug catching contest. To my shock, Ed is awarded the win with his own Scyther. Excuse me? Obviously Myla is crushed, and I've never seen as much in my life. What makes Ed's Scyther so much better than mine? Once me and Myla are Pokemon champions, I'm gonna come back here and find these judges and have a few words. Honestly, the cheek. Anyway, moving on from that disgraceful and obviously rigged competition, we can catch one more Pokemon before the next gym, a Yanma on Route 35. Yanma has a 1% encounter chance, which is very, very annoying, but eventually we find one and catch one who we name Sia. With Speed Boost, Sia, once she evolves, should be able to outspeed pretty much every Pokemon in the game, so she's a really cool addition to the team, even if she is another flying bug type, which we have a fair few over at this point. After all that, we're ready for the 3rd gym leader, Whitney, the destroyer of childhoods. Luckily, with Cloth, she proves to be a complete pushover. I start with Cloth and Whitney starts with Clefairy. Clefairy can be kinda scary with Metronome, but luckily Cloth is able to take down Clefairy with a single Brick Break. Last is Miltank, who immediately gets off a really strong stomp that crits, but luckily Cloth also crits in retaliation and 1-hit KOs with a Brick Break. Easy 3rd gym badge, Cloth easily showing why I was so excited to get to use a Heracross. Cloth either made Whitney cry, so she gets bonus points. On with the rest of the game. Zoe is immediately able to evolve into Ariados, and Hornet is able to evolve into, oh my god, somebody kill it with, sorry, I meant Parasect. We also only get one more encounter before the next gym, a Venonat we named Sly. Sly has access to Sleep Powder and hits pretty hard with special attacks, so it'll be a decent addition to the team. With Sly added to the team, we're ready for the 4th gym, and I'd be lying if I said Morty wasn't a pushover. Myla gets to really show off in her debut battle. Morty starts with Ghastly, who is one shot with a pursuit. Second is Gengar, who gets off 2 weak sucker punches before being taken down by 4 pursuits, as Morty heals. Morty has 2 Haunters left, the first of which is taken down by a single pursuit, and the second quickly follows afterwards. That gym was actually just a joke. We've only got a couple things to do before we can reach the next gym, first of which is evolve Cornither into Fortress and Sly into Venomoth. We then need to make our way to Cinnawood, but unfortunately, as Zote and I stare off into the ocean, I think about this journey so far, all the friends I've made, and how much we've all grown, and it occurs to me that none of my bug types can swim, so I guess in answer to the question, can you complete a HeartGold bug-only Nuzlocke? No, you can't. Thanks for watching. Anyway, luckily we're living in a timeline where it's an easy fix to the problem of not having bug types that can swim by catching a small crab named Dinner. Lunch and that egg Elm gave me had already been eaten, so dinner has another purpose as well if we get hungry. Eventually, dinner carries us all the way to Cinnawood. In Cinnawood, we can find our next encounter. Apparently, our rival stole this guy's Pokemon, so he's giving us his other one. Kind of like if you had a dog stolen, so you gave away your other dog so it wouldn't get stolen. Doesn't really make a lot of sense when you think about it, but sure. He gives us a Shuckle called Chucky, and I'll be completely honest, I know Chucky would probably be a fairly good wall, but I've already got Cornither, so I wouldn't be expecting Chucky to turn up too much, unless something terrible happens to Cornither. It's 5th gym time, and I'm not too worried about, wait, why is footage of the random trainer fight happening? This only happens when, no! So yes, unfortunately, I underestimated how much Ice Punch would do from Hitmonchan, and Krill is unfortunately one shot. I do so many Nuzlocks, I often don't get upset when a Pokemon dies, but this one hurt. Krill was with us from the start, and it's going to be hard to carry on without him. Rest in peace, Krill. You're now landing sleep powders in heaven. I now have to find the strength to beat this gym. Chuck starts with Primeape while I start with Cloth. I immediately go through an Aerial Ace that does just over half, while Primeape goes for a double team, which is pointless because Aerial Ace can't miss. This means on the next turn I'm able to get the KO with a second Aerial Ace. Easy. Next is Poliwrath, who hits really hard, so I'm going to need to be a bit careful here. I'm able to get off 2 Aerial Aces with Cloth that brings Poliwrath to just below half before getting put to sleep. I don't want to risk a Focus Punch, so I decide to switch into Hornet, who takes a nasty Body Slam and gets paralysed on the switch. The AI doesn't know I have Dry Skin however, so on the next turn Poliwrath goes to Surf, which heals Hornet. I'm a bit confused why the AI went for Surf there. Like, I know it's Stab, but it would have been resisted because of Hornet's Grass typing even without Dry Skin. I'm not going to complain though, as the AI's mistake means I can freely get off a Spore. Hornet then just misses the KO with a Bullet Seed, forcing Chuck to heal on the next turn, while Hornet gets off another Bullet Seed that hits 5 times and crits. Hornet putting in work here. A Slash then puts Poliwrath into range of being KO'd by another Bullet Seed, but unfortunately on the next turn Hornet gets paralysed. I then decide the safest option, assuming Poliwrath will wake up on the next turn, is to go for Spore, and of course Poliwrath continues napping. On the next turn however, my prediction is correct, so after taking a second Body Slam, Hornet is able to put Poliwrath back to sleep. It's then safe to bring in Myla, who finishes off the ugly looking Throg with a single wing attack. Another nice easy gym fight. Poliwrath proved to be annoying, but didn't really cause any issues. Let's hope the rest of this run carries on like that. We've only got one evolution to deal with before the next gym, as Sia can evolve into Yanmega. Whatever you think about Gen 4 adding new designs for older Pokemon, you gotta admit Yanmega is badass as hell. Gotta be one of my favourite bug types. With that out the way, we've got some Team Rocket stuff to deal with, but we can run through that nice and quickly. Fight a shiny Gyarados, meet Lance, watch Lance murder a guy, clear out the Team Rocket base, all in a day's work really. We're then ready for the next gym leader, Price. Price's ice types are super effective against my mostly flying type team, but with Cloth on my side I'm pretty confident I can win this fairly easily. I start with Cloth and Price starts off with Seal. As cute as Seal is, it can't stand up to a super effective Brick Break, who is taken down in one hit. Second is Dewgong. I was able to pre-burn Cloth in Burnt Tower, meaning her Guts is activated, and another single Brick Break is enough to take down another of Price's Pokemon. Third is Pillow Swine, who shockingly also goes down to a Brick Break. Johto gym leaders kind of suck, don't they? That was ridiculously easy, almost as free as Morty. Actually, I think Morty got off some attacks, so Price, you are actually worse than Morty. You should really feel bad about that. Anyway, moving on. Before we can battle Jasmine, we have to heal the Ampharos that's sick at the top of the lighthouse. This involves 2 treks across the ocean to get some medicine, and then climbing a lighthouse, so I hope Ampharos, one of my favourite Pokemon, appreciates this. Jasmine, you say not to be offended, but I am very offended. Rude. I'm going to take out my frustration at being rejected by Ampharos by beating up Jasmine and her steel types. So let's get right into this gym fight. I start with Cloth and Jasmine starts with Magnemite. To be honest, it's a good thing I have Cloth, or I wouldn't have the chance against this gym. Luckily I do though, meaning it's a simple case of setting up a substitute to avoid confusion or static, setting up 3 Swords Dances, then sweeping this entire gym. Both of Jasmine's Magnemites go down to a single Brick Break. Steelix would actually survive an unboosted Brick Break, but at +6 it has no chance and goes down to another single Brick Break. That's 2 gyms Cloth's swept by herself in a row. She's just showing off at this point. Before we can get to the last gym, we do have the Team Rocket art to deal with. So after easily defeating my rival and many Team Rocket admins and grunts, we finally make it to the leader of Team Rocket, Archer. Archer is very scary because he has a Houndoom that will outspeed every Pokemon I have. I have a foolproof plan, however, of just relying on Cloth, so let's see how this goes. Archer starts with Houndour, who is easily outsped and one-shot by Cloth. Then the Run Under comes out. I've equipped Cloth with a Focus Sash, meaning that I can't be one-shot here unless Houndoom gets the burn or the flinch, so I really have to pray. I did try to come up with a plan that didn't involve this much of the risk. I couldn't really foresee any other way out, so fingers crossed this works. So I click Brick Break and hold my breath. Oh, it just missed, and then Cloth is able to one-shot with a Brick Break. That was a tad anticlimactic. Oh well, one of the biggest run-enders in this playthrough taken down pretty easily. Archer only has Coughing left, but Myla is easily able to take down the Gas Ball before it can do anything scary. That's the Team Rocket arc taken care of. So far the ladies' dream team of Myla and Cloth are unstoppable, so let's hope that carries on into the last gym. It's time for Claire and her always scary dragon types. Luckily she starts with a Gyarados, so I should be able to set up with Myla and then sweep. I start with Cornifer while Claire starts with Gyarados. I plan to set up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes just in case things go a bit wrong. This proves to be fairly straightforward as Gyarados just goes to Dragon Rage, safely allowing me to set up Toxic Spikes. I then switch into Hornet. Hornet has to take 2 Dragon Rages before she can get off a Spore, but luckily there's no risk of the crit here, and a Citrus Berry is able to keep Hornet nice and healthy. This means Spore lands, and I'm able to safely switch into Myla and start setting up. I get off 1 Agility before misclicking and going for Wing Attack. Had that Wing Attack crit and KO'd, I'd actually be in a really awkward spot. Luckily it didn't, meaning I'm safely able to get off 2 Swords Dances while taking a single Dragon Rage as Gyarados wakes up on the second Swords Dance. I'm then completely 3 to sweep. Gyarados goes down to a single Wing Attack, both of Claire's Dragonairs go down to a single Wing Attack, and then Claire's always terrifying Sniper Kingdra also goes down to a single Wing Attack. Easy. Claire starts being a little because she lost to someone with only bug types, but we complain to her manager just like a Karen, who immediately slaps her down. He forces Claire to give us our final gym badge, meaning we're in the final stretch. Before we get to Victory Road and the Elite Four though, we do have to do something rather amusing. There's a lot of build up to the summoning of Ho-Ho, as you need to get 2 different items, climb a massive tower, watch a massive ritual, all to challenge the legendary beast himself. But I don't feel like fighting the Firebird with all my bug types, so I do the sensible thing and say no. Can you imagine training your entire life for this moment, practicing the dance needed to summon Ho-Ho for years, just waiting and hoping for the right person to come along, just for them to be like, nah, I got to do. That's hilarious. Bye bye ladies, better luck next time. Victory Road proves to be no issues, because there's no trainers on this Victory Road strangely enough, but we do have our last rival fight to deal with, and he's finally fully evolved his Cyndaquil, so this could go horribly wrong. We also have the issue that I can only bring 5 Pokemon here, because Dinner has to take up a slot for Surf. So fingers crossed I don't get unlucky here. I start with Sly, while Radiant starts with Sneasel. Sneasel outspeeds and gets off a weak feint attack before Sly then lands a Sleep Powder. Sly is then freely able to one-shot with a Signal Beam. Why I didn't just start with a Signal Beam, I don't know. Second is Kadabra, so I switch into Hornet. On the switch, Hornet takes a nasty crit Psybeam, meaning I'm either gonna have to risk another crit here, or immediately switch again. I decide it's worth risking another crit and go for Spore. Luckily, the AI doesn't even attack, and Kadabra goes to Reflect. That's perfect, as Hornet is able to freely land the Spore. I'm then able to safely switch into Myla and start setting up. I get off 1 Agility and 1 Swords Dance before Kadabra wakes up and disables Swords Dance. To be honest, this is fine, because even with just 1 Swords Dance, I should now be able to sweep. Kadabra goes down to a single X Scissor, then the scary Typhlosion comes out, but luckily with Myla's attack boost it goes down to one wing attack. Next is Golbat, who also goes down to a single wing attack. Second to last is Magneton, and honestly, had this thing come out earlier, I probably would have been screwed. Oh well, AI wants to throw, I'm not going to complain. I immediately switch into Cloth, who gets hit with a Thunder Wave on the switch. She's then hit by a weak Spark before one-shotting with a Brick Break. Last is Haunter, so I switch into Seer, who one-shots with a Night Slash. I got very lucky there, but thanks to the AI switching into exactly what I needed, I was able to get through that no problem. Now it's time for the end game. Can my bug types take down the Elite Four and Champion? I think with Quirrell watching over us, we've got what it takes. Let's see who we're bringing. Sly, the Venomoth, Seer, the Yangmega, Hornet, the Parasect, Myla, the Scyther, Cloth, the Heracross, and Cornither, the Thortress. Let's go win us a league. First up is Will, the Psychic type trainer, who is not a big fan of bug types, so this shouldn't be an issue. Will starts with Xatu, and I start with Sly. I immediately put Xatu to sleep, so I can start setting up with Myla. But annoyingly, Xatu wakes up and lands a Confused Ray as I switch into Myla. I then take some pretty stupid risks that somehow pay off. I risk 2 crits, and then risk knocking myself out with Confusion to set up a Swords Dance and KO with an X Scissor. Like in all honesty, I should have switched into Tornit to put Xatu to sleep again, but somehow I'm not punished and Myla snaps out Confusion right before she's knocked out by Xatu, getting the KO with an X Scissor. Talk about another punished. As a reward for my insanely sloppy plays, I'm actually now able to completely sweep Will's team. Jinx goes down to a single X Scissor, Will's second Xatu goes down to a single X Scissor, Executor goes down to a single X Scissor, and lastly, Slowbro goes down to a single X Scissor. I hope I didn't just cash in all my luck with that fight. Second is Koga, who starts with Aeridos, while I start off with Sly. Aeridos annoyingly survives a single Psybeam, just barely, before getting off the Spiderweb. This means Koga wastes a full restore, healing Aeridos back to full, before 2 more Psybeams take down Aeridos. Second is Crobat, who is terrifying to every bug on my team. I decide my best bet is to risk a crit here and get off some damage with Sly, so I go through a Psybeam as Crobat lands a wing attack that luckily doesn't crit, thank god. Sly's Psybeam does a decent amount but is partly healed by a Citrus Berry. I decide the Pokemon with the highest chance of being able to take a few hits from this monster is Cornither, who takes a wing attack on the switch. I go through a Mirror Shot that leaves Crobat below half while taking a second wing attack. Cornither has left Crobat low enough where Myla should be able to finish off Crobat. I've also given her a Focus Sash, so there's no risk of her being crit on the switch. So Myla comes in on a wing attack, and then finishes off Crobat with a wing attack on the following turn. Third is Venomoth, who Myla is able to one-shot with another wing attack. To be honest, I'm not sure why Koga sent out Venomoth there, who is weak to Scyther, but sure, whatever. Next is Thortress, who Cloth can easily handle, so I switch in as Thortress goes to Protect. Cloth is then able to set up with 2 Swords Dances before taking down Thortress with 2 Brick Breaks. Easy. Last is Muck, who would be annoying, but because I was able to set up Swords Dances, goes down to 2 Aerial Aces. Koga down, 2 more Elite Four members left, and then the champion to go. Third is Bruno, who starts with Hitmontop, while I start with Myla. Myla is able to continue her murderous rampage by getting a one-hit KO with a single wing attack. Second is Onyx, who Myla actually can't one-hit, so I switch into Cornither while Onyx sets up Sandstorm. Onyx then hits a really weak Earthquake and nearly gets taken down by a single Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot brought Onyx low enough to where Bruno will heal on the next turn, so Cornither is able to get off another Mirror Shot that leaves Onyx really low. I'm fairly sure Onyx will go for Earthquake here again, so I decide to bring Myla in so she can already be in when Onyx goes down. So I switch into Myla, and my prediction is correct, meaning Myla is able to finish off Onyx with an X Scissor. Third is Hitmonlee, who goes down to a single wing attack. Fourth is Hitmonchan, who Myla very aggressively takes down with a single wing attack. That was the Quirrell. Last is Machamp, who I think might survive the wing attack here, but I decide to take the risk anyway. To my surprise, Myla is able to one-shot with another wing attack. Last of the Elite Four is Karen, who yet again has a scary Houndoom, so let's see how this goes. Karen starts with Umbreon, and I start off with Sly. Sly is immediately able to put Umbreon to sleep before it can do much of anything. I'm then able to bring in Myla to start setting up. Myla is able to get off 1 Agility and 1 Swords Dance. That means it's game over for Karen. While we were setting up, Umbreon was able to get off a few double teams, meaning X's and misses a couple of times, but eventually one hits and Umbreon goes down. It's then a straight sweep. Murkrow goes down to 1 X Scissor, Houndoom also goes down to 1 wing attack, Vileplume is then shockingly taken down by a single wing attack, and finally, Gengar is also taken down by a single wing attack. Very easy, that's the Elite Four taken care of. Scyther's setup is clearly very broken. It's going to be needed though, because up next is Lance. Now I'm not sure if you've ever noticed, but Lance the Dragon type trainer has 6 flying types, so I'm really going to need one last bit of setup sweep luck with Myla here if I want to win. First up for Lance is Gyarados, who I just need to behave when it comes to sleep turns, and I should be able to win. So I start with Sly, who lands a sleep powder. I then switch into Myla, and Gyarados immediately wakes up and lands a waterfall. That's really bad. I have no choice, however, but to try again, so I switch back into Sly, who takes a strong Ice Fang on the switch. Sly then lands another sleep powder. It's insane he hasn't missed any of those yet. Thank you so much, Sly, you're invaluable. I then switch into Myla. I need to get up 3 Sword Stances and 1 Agility here if I want to win, so let's see how this goes. 1 Agility, 1 Sword Stance, 2 Sword Stance, and Gyarados wakes up. Luckily, Myla survives a very hard-hitting Ice Fang, but this is really bad. I'm no longer guaranteed to one-shot all of Lance's Pokemon without that 3rd Sword Stance. I'm just going to have to risk it here. We've come too far to back down now. So Myla goes through a Wing Attack and one-shots the Gyarados. Then the Aerodactyl comes out. This is the Pokemon that scares me the most. So I click X-Scissor, just praying that this KOs or Lance misses it with a Rock Slide. But Aerodactyl just barely survives, meaning he's able to get off a crunch that KOs poor sweet Myla. Rest in peace, Myla. You're in a better place now. We couldn't have gotten this star without you. Not only does this loss really sting, as Myla was vital for getting this star, it's left us in a really bad position for dealing with the rest of Lance's team. I decide my best bet is Sly. I go for Sleep Powder as Lance fully heals Aerodactyl with a full restore. I then decide to switch into Cloth, who I'm hoping with a bit of luck with sleep turns here, I can get off a few Sword Stances and maybe KO. Unfortunately though, my luck really has run out because Aerodactyl immediately wakes up and takes down Cloth with a single Aerial Ace. Rest in peace, Cloth. You and Myla made up the dream team combo, and I hope you're both kicking ass in heaven. I send Sly back in, hoping maybe he can survive a hit to get off another sleep powder. Unfortunately though, Aerodactyl smells blood in the water and takes down another of my bug types with another Aerial Ace. Rest in peace, Sly. I don't think you've missed a single sleep powder. You would have made Quirrell proud. It's pretty much game over at this point. I send out Cornother in the hopes that maybe he can get revenge for my fallen teammates. Cornother is able to get off a strong Mirror Shot, but a combination of Rock Slides and Thunder Fangs are eventually enough to take him down. Rest in peace, Cornother. You might have not have been a heavy hitter or a Sleep Powder pro, but your Iron Wall defense held this team together. We're down to our last 2 Pokemon, and first up is Hornet. I was disgusted when Hornet evolved with those giant dead eyes, but at this moment I realised I might have judged too harshly. I'm fully expecting Hornet to go down without doing much of anything here, but somehow, through the grace of my fallen teammates, he avoids a Rock Slide. This means he gets off a Spore. There's an actual chance Hornet and Seer can get revenge here. Hornet is able to get off 3 Bullet Seeds and 1 Cross Poison before eventually going down to a Rock Slide. Rest in peace, Hornet. You might have been a creepy looking mushroom bug, but you were my creepy looking mushroom bug. Thanks to Hornet, Seer is actually able to come in and finish off Aerodactyl with a single Night Slash. If nothing else, we managed to take down the Pokemon that ended this run. Of course, this is a temporary victory, as Lance then sends out Charizard, who ends Seer's life and the run with a single Air Slash. So there you have it, my attempt at beating a Pokemon HeartGold Hardcore Nuzlocke with only bug types. We might not have won, but that run was really fun and all my bug types did their best. I think I needed to have a plan outside of Cypher sweeping for safety, and that's where I went wrong. I think the fact it had gone right so many times before that led me to be a bit careless at the end. I hope you still all enjoyed the run, even if we did end it with a loss. I think sometimes though, me showing you guys that not all my runs are wins is important, and it makes the victories even more sweeter when they happen. Again, I hope if nothing else you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, remember to like, and if you want to see more, subscribe. Bye bye for now.